faculties who have joined here today in the MDP program. So there are people from all over different parts of the country and different institutions. And I really appreciate you, sir, that you have also got Professor Nandi along with you, Dr. Nandi along with you, to support you both you will be presenting together, and it's really a pride and honor for us to have you here, sir. We just would like to take 10 minutes. I suppose most of the
Perfectly. No.
participants, they are logged in, but they are in lunch break, so we'll start sharp at 2:30.
Sure, sure, sure.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
No problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I think now we should
I
start
think we
with
should
our
start. Yeah,
presentation.
yeah, yeah. We have Dr. Nandi also. Good afternoon, madam.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's wonderful to have you, and it's my real warm regards and welcome to you that you have accepted uh, to come and to share your experiences along with Dr. Shubhranshu. Uh, I could not get in touch with you personally, but I am really grateful and honored to have you here today.
Thank you so
And
much.
so are all the organizers and the institution from where I belong. Thank you, madam, once again, both of
Thank
you,
you.
Dr. Shubhranshu and Dr. Nandi Parekh. Uh, it's a warm welcome and good afternoon from my side to both of you. On to you, Arundhati.
So, welcome back to our all the participants and our experts in this third and the last session of our 5-day faculty development program on advancing research capabilities in architecture and planning, organized by Faculty of Architecture and Planning, AKTU Lucknow. I welcome our speakers, Dr. Subhranshu Goswami and Professor Nandi Parekh. Dr. Subhranshu Goswami is an assistant provost and head of SEPT professional programs by education and training. Dr. Subhranshu is an environmental planner and environmental engineer. And Dr. Goswami holds a doctorate in public policy and administration. He has 20 years of professional experience as an into academics and research and as a consultant in the field of water and sanitation, urban infrastructures and services, and into environmental planning. And before joining the SEPT University, Dr. Subhranshu was associated with PricewaterhouseCoopers Delhi, and he was authored more than 25 publications, which include research papers, journal articles, books, and various book chapters. And at Faculty of Planning, he teaches courses on urban infrastructure, sustainable development, then professional practice for planners. And he has worked as a member of the JNNURM technical cell at the Ministry of Urban Development for Government of India, and he has also been a member of the core team for research and consultancy projects funded by various departments and agencies. Those include Ministry of Urban Development, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Ministry of Labor and Employment, World Health Organization, India Canada Environmental Facility, International Water Management Institute, and German Society for International Corporations. And Professor Nandi Parekh has worked in retail store design more than 15 years, giving her extensive experience in the field. She has been leading the store design team for various international brands. She is a program chair for the Bachelor's of Design and Bachelor's of Interior Design programs at the Faculty of Design. She has a Master's of Interior Design from the UK. And our speakers will enlighten us on patenting and licensing. That is very crucial and important part of any research that a researcher should understand the legal and the process of patenting and the licensing. So welcome, sir and ma'am. Please share your knowledge with all the participants present here so that all can be benefited from it.
I think there is a rise in hand by one of the participants before the start of the presentation. Yes, Shalini, may I know your question? Can you please switch on your uh, camera and unmute yourself and throw us the question? Shalini Kumari, you have raised a hand.
So I think she might be just for matlab, error or something from her side. By a chance, she must have pressed the button.
Yeah. Okay. So we continue over the platform. Over to you, Dr. Goswami.
Thank you, Professor Banerjee, and thank you, Professor Arundhati. First of all, thanks for such an elaborate kind of introduction. So, to be short, yeah, I am teaching at SEPT University, and at the same time, I am engaged in some of the kind of important administrative roles at the university level. And when Professor Banerjee said that I must talk about IPR, firstly, see, I strongly believe that IPR is a subject which should be handled by a designer or a person who is having law background or lawyer, right? Because intellectual property of a product or a design, which is eventually legally protected through the different means like patenting or design registration or copyright kind of things, right? So because I'm neither a designer nor a lawyer, I thought, I will try to kind of outline this talk as follows. One is that, there will be the technical components, and for which I thought Professor Nandi Parikh, who is my colleague, and more importantly, because she is a practicing designer, has a wide range of design experience, so she can share the technical part of it with more insights. And I will talk more about the institutional part of it, that why this is becoming more and more important and how an institution should look at it from a different perspective altogether with the changing requirements and demand for IPR and related aspects, right? So therefore, I mean, the first part of the presentation, I'll request Professor Nandi to take up and, first discuss about the technicalities, and then I will come in. Over to Professor Nandi.
Okay, thank you, Shubhranshu. So I have prepared a brief presentation on what is IPR and how we understand as IPR. Um, so before I just begin or share my presentation, I would say that I've worked in retail as Professor Arundhati mentioned for a very long time. It's more than 15 years. So I've been dealing with retail stores, retail fixtures, fittings, gondolas, a lot of the product design part as well. And since the inception of IPR at CEPT, I was part of my students have started registering their products. So it's been a good learning curve till now. So I will just share a small presentation that I've made along with my experience on what are the things we look at while we are designing. So I hope that will be you'll get some insight on that. Can you see my screen?
Yes, madam.
So I'll just begin this presentation with a very basic question of what is a design. So a design is any characteristics that you give to an object, whether it's two-dimensional, three-dimensional, or it is both. And it can be different shapes, configurations, patterns, ornamentation, or compositions of lines or colors. We can also classify design as an industrial technique or means, which can be manual, mechanical, or chemical, and it may be used to, you can use either of these three to apply or any of it independently or in combination, as long as the finished product appeals and is evaluated purely by the site. At the same time, design can be a construction method, a very particular construction method, or a concept, or purely a mechanical object or a functional object. Moving on, so just a general idea about what is a design as a product designer, or when you're designing anything, any product or furniture or object or whatever. So what is IPR, which is an intellectual property right? What is it and how it all started? So IPR is given to the patentee for discovering a new product or a new process. There was a Patents and Designs Act of 1872 that was the first law in India to protect industrial designers. It was added in 1859 that the Governor General of India passed to give the inventors special rights and give industrial design more protection, just to protect our rich history and culture of India, because there was A lot of furniture happened in that time, a lot of new designs evolved, and this was a time when this act came. In 1872, Act included the phrase any new and original pattern or design or the application of such a pattern or design to any substance or manufactured article. So the Act was constantly evolving from 1859 onwards. Um, Again, there was in Patents Act of 1970, got rid of the patent related parts and the Patent Designs Act of 1911. So there were few things again modified in 1970. However, finally, India became a member state of the WTO in 1995, that the Patents and Designs Act of 1911 was thrown out. And the Designs Act of 2000 was passed so that India's design law would be in line with the TRIPS agreement. And that's when almost the definition of design was defined and developed. And what in 2000, in 1911, the what was new was only based in India, or what was designed was only based in India. But under the Designs Act of 2000, what is new is now based on the whole world. So government passed the law saying we are going to look at the whole world and not restrict ourselves to India. So the 1911 Act had a system for classifying things based on how they were made, but the design rules of 2001 and the change made in 2008 have a more detailed system based on the Locarno classification system. So basically, it was more to do with the design and not only how it was made, but also how the approach was, the effort to the design, and the whole process would be followed. So basically, there are major 4 types of IPR that is there in India. The first is a patent, where a new product or processes involving an inventive step and capable of industrial application is there. So you have a patent registration. Then comes a trademark. That mark distinguishes the goods or services of one person from another. So we see all these trademarks that happens in the industry out there. The next one is the copyright, which is original and literally dramatic. So it's more related to music and movies and cinemas and sound recording. And the last is design registration, which we use on in our university quite a lot. That features a design, shape, configuration, pattern, or any composition using lines and colors. That is more to do with the individual's designs that they use. So next is so after what we do is how we come up with a design process flowchart. This is a generic design process flowchart that goes. Shubhranshu will be able to explain you more in detail what is the process we follow at CEPT. The first is we file the application. So we identify the students and we file the application. The examination report comes in, where the similarity check is done by the government. So the response comes back to us if there is a similarity, non-similarity, whatever it is. All the objections are met, which means everything, all the criteria of the government of India is met. They accept our application. There is a particular way of putting the 3Ds or photos and the elevations of the objects that we have made. And then it is published on their website, and then we are granted a certificate for 10 years. After 10 years, whoever has registered the patent has a right to renew it for another 5 years. So this is a 7 to 8 step process, which is easy to be filed on their website, and they just have to make sure we have all the documents that is required. I have got some examples at the end that I'll show you. So what are the benefits of the design registration? So basically, when the design is registered, the person who is registered gets the exclusive right. So the picture on your right, you can see this is one of the products one of my students had made, and this is for the kids wear store she was designing, and this is for like a half moon fixture that she has made. It has been actually prototyped and tested and tried. Um, the registered owner of a design has a right to have his or her intellectual property protected. He can sell this license of his design for a fee or a royalty, which can be done with the industries if he or she likes. Um, and when you register, which I mentioned before, you get right for 10 years from the date you register, and you can also renew it for another 5 years. So these are the few benefits of protecting your designs. This is another example of another student who has designed a scarf stand based on the Shiva sculpture. So what are the requirements for registration? A design should be new or original, not been disclosed to the public anywhere, be significantly distinguishable from known designs or combination of known designs. However, there are also some exclusions from scope of design. So we saw all the benefits. Now we'll go what all is excluded. So some of them are your books, calendars, certificates, forms, and other documents, dressmaking patterns, just everyday things. I think that is not, these are excluded. Labels, tokens, cards, and cartoons, that is also excluded. Any principle or mode of construction of an article is excluded. Buildings and structures are excluded. Parts of articles not manufactured and sold separately are excluded. Variations commonly used in the trade. Workshop alterations of components of an assembly. So a lot of assembly items, what we use in furniture, that is excluded as for patenting. And just a change in size of the furniture or article or a sculpture, that is excluded. And flags, emblems, or signs of any country, that obviously that won't be any part. Layout designs of integrated circuits. So these are the items that is excluded from design registrations. Yeah, your applications will not be accepted if you try and register any of that. So this is basically general idea I gave you about the design registration. I have two examples I'm going to talk about and support what the design registration that we have received. So this is the first example that for one of my students, she had made a gondola for a retail store. She was designing a retail store of a paint shop, which is called a Biopop. And she made the gondola inspired from a flower. If you can see on the top right hand corner, there's a small working drawing I've just included in that. So inspired from the tower, and it was just to be put on a floor. But the way she has had the rod and the shells and the different departments or different sections in there, it looks like the round brush. So she clubbed all of that, and you can see the colored leaves, which we applied a vinyl finish on top of each of the section where she would put the color buckets. So red, so the whole shelf would be full of red paints, pink, orange, etc. So it was all color coded. So this was inspired from the flower, and because her paint colors is environmental friendly and is a bio chemical friendly, and so she took the inspiration from the flower. So we also send all of this, we send the intent of our design to while registering our products with the government of India. So we always mention what was the intent about designing this product and the uses of this product. And if you can see at the bottom, right, the pictures of it is three-dimensional, how that looks, and how we what are the different variations of that product. We also have to submit the working drawings of the, sometimes they may or may not ask depending on, but it's mostly on the pictures, the proportions, and also the dimensions. So and also this fixture was rotatable. This was, again, I don't unfortunately I don't have the live pictures, but this is was tried and tested on campus. This fixture is rotatable, so there is a ball bearing inside the rod, and that's where the fixture actually rotates. And yeah, pretty much it's quite versatile fixture that she had designed. The next example is, unfortunately, I don't have these drawings for her, but I can explain the project. This project was about the displaying of homeware products like pots, pans, knives, spoons, and all the dinner table or dinnerware or homeware items. This student, she designed the fixture to display the pots, the plates, and the spoons together. So we took a stainless steel metal frame. We took stainless steel just to keep it very light in weight, and we did a brass coating on top. If you see the hooks here, you can hang your spoons and spatulas and some pots, and the slit here can be used to put your plates in, and the smaller slits in the front was to put your cutlery in there. So this was like a holistic showcase table that she has designed to go in the front of the store, where somebody enters your store and you can look at the whole store in a, all your products are seen just at the one table or the newer arrivals table. So that was the whole idea about this table that was being displayed. Again, this is a floor display, so it was only 1.5 meters high, no more than that, and it was a freestanding. This was also tried and tested at our university, and we have actually we try and test the fixtures before even it goes for IPR. So except most of me and my colleagues, whoever is teaching product related subjects, we make sure that we make 1:1 prototypes, try it, test it. We also do the similarity checks ourselves before we pass it on to strategic initiatives office, and we submit our drawings and we submit it for our registration. So yeah, that's all from my end. I would like to thank you all for being patient and listening to the presentation. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, madam. Such a wonderful presentation with examples. I think hands-on examples to the students is really what is required. They can understand and they can get the feel of the same. So I think it was really very enriching and encouraging for all the students. Now I would like to ask the students if there are any queries. You can get in touch with madam. She's here with us online today.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any queries? Okay, I think I'll actually, madam, if you can share your presentation. Yes, there is one hands up.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Ashwini Rawat. Yes, You can unmute yourself, put on your camera, and you can ask the question.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
I would like to request you to put on your camera,
Okay,
please.
sir. Just a second.
Okay. You can ask.
Hello.
Yes.
Very good afternoon, everyone. Hello.
I think you have logged in from two devices for which we are having an echo.
Yeah.
Please log out from the other device.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Please throw your question. We can hear you.
हाँ. Okay. मैम, एक्चुअली पेटेंट के बारे में मुझे थोड़ा सा बात ये करना था कि जैसे आपने बताया पेटेंट डिजाइन के बारे में, क्या कुछ एक पेटेंट जर्नल्स भी चल रहा है अब के टाइम पे इन टर्म्स IPR में ही?
Can you repeat your question? Sorry.
Ma'am, you are talking about the patent design only.
Yes.
तो I want to कि आप कुछ हमें गाइडेंस या कुछ पेटेंट जर्नल्स के बारे में भी बता सकें. IPR पे अब पेटेंट जर्नल्स भी हो रहे हैं एब्स्ट्रैक्ट्स के साथ में.
Yeah, so we at CEPT हम लोग डिजाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन ज्यादा करते हैं because हमारे वहाँ because these are all products, it usually goes as design registrations and not as patent. I think there is more legal requirements for patents, which
actually मैम जो टाइम
sorry
एक्चुअली यस मैम, जैसा आपने कहा क्योंकि अब तो हमें इनके कंसल्टेंट्स की भी जरूरत पड़ती है क्योंकि इतना भारी टेन्योर होता है इनका सबमिट करने का बराबर कि 8 महीने आप सबमिट करेंगे, फिर एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आपका जाएगा, वो एग्री करते नहीं करते, फिर आपसे क्वारी पूछेंगे, मोर देन 1.5 ईयर से ज्यादा लग जाता है. तो राइट नो शायद अभी ये प्रोसेस भी किसके कंसल्टेंट्स या एजेंट्स भी होने लगे हैं जो आपके प्रोसेस को थोड़ा फास्ट करते हैं.
we have
may I come in here?
Yes,
Ashwini, I think I got your point. What you are trying to understand is how to ensure that the process is more efficient and can be done faster, right?
Especially for beginners.
Right, got it. So maybe we can take more questions at the end of my small presentation.
Okay, sir.
Together, okay, and perhaps some of your questions will be answered in my presentation as well, and then jointly we'll discuss, right?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that will be a better approach.
Yes. So let me take it forward. Thank you, Nandi. So the idea was to first throw some cases and talk about how it happens, and then discuss from as I have titled it, as a perspective and experiences, essentially of an academic institute here. And I'm told that the participants here are from different academic institutions, and most of them are into teaching. So let's try and understand from the perspective of an academic institute and why it is important, how it can be done in a better way, what are the ways and means, etc. So as Nandi was telling that, when you talk about intellectual property, it's essentially out of the intellectual efforts of the creator or the inventor. And in this case, within our scope, it may be a professor, a student, or any researcher who is working in a particular academic institute or an university, right? And it is either having proprietary values or protected by a statute. So that's the idea of intellectual property here. And as Nandi was telling that there are, multiple kinds of intellectual properties that we are talking about. Most commonly in technology and engineering, you will find they are going for patenting a product along with its mechanism and processes, which has a direct application value, right? whereas the designers, they go more for design registration. So you have a particular design which is unique in nature, and that is you are trying to register so that it is legally protected, right? And nobody can really copy it. There is something called copyrights. Copyrights are more commonly used for the literary, musical, and other related documents. For example, if you are writing a paper and if it is published, you know that the journal is ensuring that your paper is within copyright protection, right? And therefore nobody can really copy fully or partly in any form from that particular body of text. Now the third one, which is trademark, which is also used widely in the industries. And geographical indication is another, which one I'm sure all of you are aware about, is like recently there was a debate about Rasgulla, whether Rasgulla should be getting the GI of Orissa or West Bengal, right? There are global GI also. For example, if you talk about basmati rice, it's essentially a GI which is associated with the location. In this case, it is India, right? So Canada or UK cannot claim that basmati is our product and that the GI should be given to us. So essentially, this IP business is essentially giving you the rights, legal rights, to say that this is my product. I am the creator. I am the inventor of this product. Right. Now, having said so, let's quickly see the business that we are talking about, right? If we talk about architecture, right now, in fact, it's now a old report, it is of 2021. So by now, perhaps in India, total number of architects, professionally licensed architects from Council of Architecture must be around 1,25,000. And because every year there is addition of another 25,000 students which is joining this program, I'm sure in another 3-4 years this number will become 2 lakhs architects in the country. Now these numbers are perhaps immaterial unless and until we have good quality professionals in the market. And when I say good quality professionals, I think the relation here with IPR is nothing but the novelty, the new ideas, the original ideas and designs, which is required, right? And therefore, if we look at design profession, perhaps this is another report which says that by 2020, which is past already, there is a potential market for design which is for about INR 188 billion, right? And only 1/5 of the design market is currently tapped. If you look at the number of designers, it is saying that including the industrial, graphics, communication, packaging, altogether, perhaps there is a requirement of 62,000 designers in the market. But as of now, approximately 7,000 qualified designers are handling it, right? Now, when I say there is a requirement of 62,000 designers and 7,000 qualified designers are managing the show, you very well understand that you also have large number of architects who are also potentially engaged in design profession, right? They're designing different kind of aspects of products or industrial design, interior, furniture, and whatnot. And they're actually filling in this gap here. Now, again, having said so, I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that it's not only the requirement of architects and designers, it's the good quality architects and designer, and the idea of an academic institute when we're talking about, I think the idea is more about developing a culture, right? Quite often we talk about this ecosystem of startup, ecosystem of entrepreneurs that the institutions should come up with. I personally always feel that it's more than an ecosystem. In an academic institute, what you need to ensure is the culture of innovation, the culture of inventing new things, the culture of original creativity. And the institute just need to provide the required systems and processes in place. Students and faculty members will automatically do the needful, right? And therefore, a question that comes here is, when I'm talking about IPR in academic institution context, who is the most important component here, or who feels that this is important for him or her? Is it important for the faculty members to go for IPR? Or is it the students who should go for IPR? Or is it the institutions should also be interested? It's a very important question here. And if we have the right answer here, perhaps half the problem is resolved. So anybody has any key observation here? Who should really be bothered about IPR? Is it the faculty member or students or the institution? Any answer?
Students, I guess.
Students, okay. Anybody would like to agree or agree to disagree?
Also the institutions.
Institutions, okay.
And for faculty members also for their individual growth.
Correct. Okay, so anybody else would like to reflect on this? See, I have put this. Yeah, please.
May I put?
Okay, so we'll come back to it again. So the purpose I have put this question here is that, perhaps as somebody said that it is important for students. I would say probably it is even more important for the faculty members and even more important for the institution. And so in my sequence, it will be first should be institution, second should be the faculty members, and third should be the students. Reasons are as follows. For example, you understand if you are in academics, everybody is talking about publication, right? And when you are in design profession and architecture profession, you know it very well that you have very limited scope to really do publications in all those impact factor journals. But you have a larger potential to design something and register it for intellectual property rights, be it a patent, be it a design registration, whatever it is. You can claim that I have 10 IPR in my name, right? And that's where perhaps you need to understand that even the appraisal processes now are changing across different academic institutions. So it's not only teaching for a faculty member, it's how much you are engaged in research, and research not in terms of how many research projects you are doing, but more from the outcome perspective. And IPR, there is no match to the IPR, which is a tried and tested innovation which has been recognized by Government of India's highest authority, the Patent Office of India. So you need not say that, okay, this is peer reviewed or this or that. This is the original idea that is created by you, right? So for faculty members, there's no question about it that it is extremely important. For students, I think many of them are not even clear that they can do it. Perhaps the potential is not understood. So when they are not aware about it, therefore the job of the faculty becomes more crucial to kind of make them more aware that let's do some better product. Let's design in a way which is unique. And then eventually faculty and student together can be inventor or creator of the product and file for design registration. So I'll come to some case studies from CEPT again, over and above what Nandi talked about. Now, third is institution. Now, because I'm sure many of you, the people who are in the teaching profession here, must be engaged also in some kind of institutional role, right? And some will perhaps take it up as a serious job or serious role within your institution. And therefore, you must understand that the entire global landscape, when you talk about higher education, is changing very fast. And today we are talking about ranking, rating, national ranking rating, international ranking rating, global ranking rating. So be it National Institutional Ranking Framework, NIRF, or be it NAC, or be it if you are going for global ranking like QS, you know very well that IPR, number of IPRs that you have registered, is important. Number of publications you have done is important. So the institution, when it has to show the number that I have 100 IPRs registered in the last 5 years, where will that number come from, right? So institution will have to have a mechanism in place to foster this culture, and eventually the benefit is, accrued to the credit of the institution as well. And in this entire ecosystem, all three of them are benefited. So I thought it's important to discuss who should really go for it and why, right? Now, if I look at it from the perspective of an institution, how at the institution level can you really manage this entire thing or foster that culture? So you know that to have that kind of a culture, merely having an ad hoc initiative in place may not be very useful, right? So if you look at the best universities and institutions across the world, you will find they have an intellectual property policy in place and perhaps uploaded in their website as well. Now, this policy is the first step towards this culture, right? So I'll talk about that policy a little more later, but before that, you need to understand that there is a countrywide landscape also, and national government also came up with a national policy called National Intellectual Property Right Policy, which came in 2016, right? And if you look at the larger picture, when national government is also asking for something, universities are trying to do something on their own. All that I'm saying here is that the institution first need to start with a policy of its own. And here I'm trying to kind of share the experience that we have had. Now, many of you, I'm sure, is aware about our university, and we have been doing fairly good in this architecture planning and design domain. Now, it is unfortunate that, not for very long time we thought about this design registration seriously. Students kept on doing good work, extremely good work. Faculty members had their excellent output, their contribution towards those best outputs. But eventually, neither the student nor the faculty members nor the institution thought that this should be legally protected, So as a result, there was no structure in place. So perhaps about 3 years back, 3 to 4 years, 2 years gone in the pandemic, and most of the time it is discounted from our mind. So it is 4 years back when we, so I also head the Strategic Initiatives Office of the university. Now, the idea here is that, so as the name suggests, Strategic Initiatives Office is mandated with the idea of taking up any new initiative which is of strategic importance for the university, right? So the job starts with to identify which are those areas you need to strengthen. And when I was heading this office, and I realized that one area where perhaps not many of us are very seriously thought about and has not done much is intellectual property rights. So when I looked at the landscape in the country in this particular domain, I don't know if any of you are aware, as of today, the number of IPRs registered in the country, whatever number comes from academic institutions from across the country, out of that, 80 to 85% patents and design registrations comes from IITs alone, right? Now, when I say 80 to 85% IPRs are coming from IITs alone, and rest 10 to 15% is coming from all other thousands of academic institutions, what does it really mean? It no way means that the other institutions doesn't have the talent, doesn't have the creativity, or doesn't have the best students and faculty members. It's essentially that culture, system, and process that is needed in an academic setup. And that's perhaps these IITs have been able to put in place long back Somebody will say they have a lot of funds. But believe me, what I'm going to say right now, it doesn't need a lot of funds. All that it needs is the idea, the culture, and the systems and processes, right systems and processes in place. And I say that with a lot of confidence because in the last 4 years, when we developed this entire thing, I think we applied for around 30 design registrations in last 4 years with a very selective and conservative manner. And out of those 30, 18 has been registered successfully with patent office. And we got kind of response from them within a year or so. So to me, the success rate is about 60 to 70%, and remaining 10, I'm sure another 5 we will receive very soon. So once you start working on that, the numbers increases and the things are in place. So let's come back to the policy part of it here. So and then I'll share the experience of SEPT. What we have done is that, one is, so I was talking about national intellectual property rights policy, right? Now the national government here is very, very focused about the fact that in India we need to talk about creativity, innovation, and stimulated by intellectual property for the benefit of all, right? And it also talks about the knowledge in the main driver of development. If you're talking about a developing country, knowledge should be the driver of that development, and the knowledge owned is transformed into knowledge shared. Now, this knowledge owning up and knowledge sharing is very important aspect here. How do you share the knowledge? It can be free of cost, it can be at a cost, but eventually it should be shared. Holding the knowledge back and putting it in the self is a criminal offense actually, unless and until the knowledge is not worth sharing. But I'm sure most of us are creating new knowledge, adding to the body of knowledge through our research, and that's something should be shared. And at the same time, when you are sharing, you ensure that it is legally protected before I share, so that my idea remains my idea, right? So the mission of this policy also, if we look at here carefully, it talks about 3 areas: healthcare, food security, and environmental protection, among all other sectors, as a very vital social, economic, and technological importance that they are talking about. And if I'm talking about architecture and design, I think environmental protection is something most of our designs can take care in a greater way, right? So we are already working on that. Healthcare design, healthcare systems designs are also now part of our design education. Food security. Now, in food security, the entire agricultural innovation that is happening, the designers are also coming up with new innovative ideas to making it more efficient through different kind of technologies and technological upgradation, right? Now, having said so, when the national government is saying all these things, you must understand that institution, what kind of policy an institution should talk about. So I have looked at the policies of different institutions, the IIT, especially in IITs, in Indian context, IIT's policies, and also policies from some of the internationally good universities. And I found that any such policy document is having a couple of key aspects very clearly written, which gives a level of confidence to the user group. And in this case, user group is students and faculty members and research within an institution, right? So a typical policy document like that of any institution, be it IIT or CEPT University, you will find that it has an introduction, it has definitions of what kind of IPR really we are talking about. It talks about activities which is leading towards generation of such kind of IP. It talks about ownership of the IP. Now, note it that ownership is very important here. I'll come back to that quickly. It talks about the process of obtaining IPR. What should be the process, or what kind of process institution will try to adopt? Cost of acquiring the IPR. So getting the IPR is not free of cost. There is some expenses to, as Ashwini was asking, that you need to procure an agent. Exactly. Most of these applications are routed through a IPR agent who are legal people, right? So they have their consulting fee. Government has some fee attached to the thing. So I'll also show you that. Commercialization of the IP. Once you have designed a product or a particular item, and if it is to be commercialized tomorrow, how will you ensure that the right kind of commercialization happens and the benefit comes to the inventor, owner, or creator in suitable manner? So this commercialization is something also I'll talk quickly. And how do you ensure the revenue sharing? So if I am able to sell a particular design to a manufacturer, suppose I design a chair, and tomorrow a company like Nilkamal comes and says that I will be happy to take your design and produce it in mass scale. Please sell me your design rights, right? Now that's the commercialization. But if I get, suppose, 5 crore rupees as a commercialization output of that, and gives the right to Nilkamal, how do I share that money amongst the creators? How do I share it with the owner and the creator? So there is a revenue sharing component of this, which is also to be part of the policy. IP policy administration, who will administer it, the entire governance behind that. Role of IPR sale. So I'm sure many of your institutions must be having IPR sale. So this IPR sale is a kind of a committee and which is trying to ensure this culture within the institution, what should be their role and what is beyond the scope of that sale, rules and regulations of the institute, and eventually power to amend the IPR policy, right? So let's quickly see some of this. I have colored in red from point 3 to point 8 because these are the points which I think most of you should have a better clarity, and I'll come to that with some more discussion. For example, I was talking about cost of IPR filing, right? So as I was talking in the very beginning, that you need a legal person who knows the legalities of it, because eventually the application goes to the Patent Office of India, and there are different given structures, formats, and forms which you need to fill up. Now, if I have to procure services of a particular legal agent, what are the charges, right? So, for example, this is about design registration application. Now, you see the first 3 columns here is about government charges. So there is an application fee that is to be paid to the patent office when you are submitting your application. There are also natural persons. So as an individual, if I am submitting, it is 1,000 rupees. If it is a small entity, then around 2,000 rupees. So we as a university, when we submit, we pay 4,000 rupees per application to Government of India as an application fee. Additionally, you can see 15,000 to be paid to the professional charges, towards professional charges of the legal advisor here, right? So for me, it becomes 4,000 plus 15,000, which is around 19,000 as a first amount that I am paying towards the application process. Then see, there are preparing and filing reply to each official objections. So if you submit an application, you may receive some objections from the patent office saying that this is not kind of acceptable, there is some problem, this is matching with another design, etc., or explain this. When that comes, again you need to submit back in a legal form, and your legal agent will again charge you 3,500. So in this case, this is a kind of sample rate I have put. It may vary 10 to 15% with large and small legal entities. But you understand that perhaps to run the entire cycle and receive the final design, perhaps you will be paying around 30,000 rupees per design registration, right? Now, who is going to bear the cost of 30,000 rupees is the question now that we need to answer. Here is another example of, say, patent, right? So patent has a series of, as Nandi was saying, patent is a more complicated process. You don't receive a patent over a year. Perhaps about minimum time that is needed is around 2.5 to 3 years to get a patent. And that becomes a bit tricky for a student, because the student, especially if it is postgraduate student, within 2 years they are leaving the campus, right? If it is an undergraduate student and applies in the first year itself, perhaps during his student life within the campus, he will see the end of it. So for patent, it becomes a bit problematic here, and for design registration, because it is a little faster, is perhaps more desirable for many students, and they can do it quickly. So anyways, this has its own rate. The application itself is 18,000 here. If you go for copyright, now I have already told that copyrights are essentially for your documents, your papers, and other similar things. And for that, the charges for government fees, you can see, it varies again based on what kind of document you are working on. If it is a simple piece of text and literary document, etc., it is maybe 500 rupees. But if it is an application for obtaining clearance certificate from trademarks registry for artistic work capable for used in relation to any goods and services, which has a direct industry relation and application to it, the cost becomes 9,000 rupees, right? So there are, based on the product, the legal advisor will tell you that, see, this product is something will go in this category, and therefore your application fee will become this, and my consulting fee will become this. So copyright is something which therefore is not a very common practice at the individual level or at the institutional level, because it has a lot of complications in terms of which one you really will go for. Imagine if all the students working paper, they come up and say that I want this to be copyrighted, and they can ask it and you can go for it, and it will be copyrighted actually, because every piece of text, as long as the plagiarism is zero, is potentially eligible for copyright, right? Whatever you write, it makes sense, it doesn't make sense, no matter, but it can be copyrighted, right? So in that case, if I have to copyright 2,000 students' thesis or students' submissions of working paper, it's something is not really desirable. So here you need to take a call for which you should go. So you don't see this as a very common practice, therefore, in the academic institution, unless and until it is a published paper which is copyrighted by the journal owner by themselves, right? So patent, design registration, and copyright, these are the three aspects. This is how you need to ensure that something has to be paid, and who will pay that amount, right? So I'll come to this again later, perhaps. But yeah, let me then finish this part here. That in our university, as a policy, we take up the entire cost of filing. So every product which is filed, be it 20,000 or 30,000, the entire cost is taken care by the university. And we at the university has also a kind of retainer in terms of legal advisor who ensures that these things are submitted in a proper manner. And we also pay the required salary or remuneration to that person. So that's the process that we follow here, and the cost is taken care by us. Revenue share on commercialization, right? Now, every university and institution can have their own policies in terms of revenue sharing. So now, as I said already, that revenue will come up only when your design is commercialized, right? So you designed a chair, and a company is ready to buy your design idea and the rights. So perhaps if the company ready to pay you, say, 50,000 rupees or 5 lakhs rupees or 5 crore, subject to mutual negotiation, how will that money be utilized? So because I am a faculty of institution, because the student is within the institution, in this case, the distribution of that revenue will be having a share. Now, these are from the different IPR policies of respective organizations. So you find there are institutions where the 100% of the revenue goes to the institution. The creator or the inventor is not supposed to take any money out of that. IITs, I see they have 40-60. So university keeps 40% of the revenue, 60% goes back to the inventor, right? UCLA, University of Texas, they have even different where the larger part is remaining with the university, a smaller component goes to the inventor. Here in our university, as of today, the policy is 50-50. So 50% goes to the university, 50% goes to the inventor. Although even today, I mean, as of today, we have not really commercialized any of those products which has been registered. But if tomorrow we register, the idea is that 50-50, right? Now, how do we really manage this so in the university level here? I think we are already 1 hour. So I'll try to sum up it as fast as possible. So as you can see here that where is it originated? So if I'm talking about a design, a product, or a particular idea here, where is it originating? So it can be out of a thesis, it can be from a directed research project, it can be from studios, it can be out of a summer winter school, right? And any other research project that is happening within the premises, even a faculty member's independent individual research project, which is being carried out within the premises of the university during the time of his professional engagement, and therefore university has a right on that, right? So this is the origin here. Inventor, who is the inventor? So the faculty members, be it full-time, adjunct, or visiting, if it is part of the studio, thesis, DRP, etc., from within the campus, the faculty becomes the inventor here. Students are obviously the primary inventor in most of them. Research associate, project associate, or teaching associate, or academic associates, based on their potential engagement, the inventors can mutually decide who are the inventors, right? So we have products where the faculty member, the students, and even the research associate of that particular studio all together is the inventors group, and that's how they claim that we are the inventor as a group. So anyways, so this is origin, this is the inventors. So in this case, as I said, we have an office called Strategic Initiatives Office. So all these identified things comes to eventually Strategic Initiative Office, and we ensure that it is communicated to the IP lawyer or IP agent in this case, and he or she eventually submits the application to the patent office. That's how the entire thing happens. But it's not that easy the way this diagram really shows. You need to have a very systematic process in place, right? So here I am talking about the steps how we really run the show. So the idea is that we have every semester end exhibition, right? So once a semester ends, that means all the thesis in that semester is over, studios are over, courses are over, right? So when those studios, thesis, etc. is over, there is a potential output of that particular studio. Now, how do you ensure that the work or output of that particular studio is a potential object or design which can go for IPR, right? So what do? We send a call for, kind of request to all the deans and program chairs that you please nominate the products from within your faculty and programs to us. And then deans and program chairs jointly, they recommend potential projects to us. This nomination process is essentially to maintain the sanctity that yes, this product, because you must understand that if there are 400 students and if there are 200 projects, we know very well that all 200 doesn't deserve to be protected legally, because perhaps they are not purely original idea or something completely new, right? So that novelty, the dean and the program chair will have to have some kind of screening and tell us that these are the 5 products you can go ahead. And I think we have a good confidence level that this can go ahead for IPR. So then we have a screening committee also. If I receive total around 80 such recommendations and nominations. A screening committee goes through that and said these are the 40 can be, these are the 30 cannot go because there are some problems with kind of its functionality, or if it is falling under the exclusionary category. Nandi was talking about what is excluded, right? So if it is falling in that category, etc. So screening committee tells me that these are the 40, you should go ahead. Then patent attorney assesses the probability, and finally what happens in the step 5 is the draft MOU is signed, right? Now what is MOU here? Now you must understand that when I'm submitting an application to the patent office, in this case the submission is happening from university. So university is becoming the owner of the product, right? And therefore the students and faculty members are the inventor of the product. Now, who is owner, who is inventor, that clarification is there in the MOU. The MOU also talks about a couple of other aspects. For example, if there is a commercialization, how it will happen. If there is a revenue that you earn out of it tomorrow, how it will be shared. All those things are clearly written in the MOU, and all the inventors and in university together, if there is a bilateral agreement that yes, this is what we agree to go ahead with, right? So that MOU is a very, very important component here. Necessary documents are collected in a standard format, and then finally it is submitted to the patent office, right? Now, this is the sample, nomination form which is sent to the deans, that you identify the product and submit, where the brief description of the product is there, who is the faculty member, out of which studio, everything is written there, so that we can track back in that thing, right? Now, what I was talking about, creator and inventor, right, and owner, is something you must understand, that who is owner and who is creator. Now, in the context of a IP, the owner is the person who has kind of full right to have any kind of transaction with a potential party tomorrow for commercialization, right? So I own, therefore I can sell it, I can commercialize it. So that's the kind of right is staying with owner of the product. Creator and inventors are the creators of the product. They get that kind of recognition that yes, this person has created it. Now here, the creator or inventor himself or herself can also be the owner, right? In this case, at the university level, the university is the owner as per the MOU that we sign, right? And so you will say that if you are the owner, then you will sell it. No, I cannot sell it without the permission of the creator, because the MOU takes care of that. The MOU is a 5-6 page long document where all the possibilities are written. If university wants to commercialize it, I need consent from the creator or the inventor. The pricing will be fixed mutually along, when I'm consulting with the creator or the inventor. And then when it is commercialized, as I said, the MOU also takes care of the revenue sharing. So there is nothing ambiguous at the very beginning. And I'm signing this MOU when I'm submitting the application to the patent office. Even if the product doesn't get a registration status tomorrow, I have done my formalities here in the beginning, so that after registration, there is no legal ambiguity and there is no litigation on conflict of interest, and etc. Right? So you were clear about what will happen if it is registered. So post facto, everything is already anticipated, and the MOU takes care of that. Now, another very interesting point here is that, for example, in our university, what we do, every semester end, we have something called public exhibition. So all the products and designs and panels and charts, everything is displayed for public, right? So this public exhibition, the summer exhibition and winter exhibition, is something which is becoming more and more popular now. So the peer group, the students from different institutions, faculty members, they come to see these products, and it's a very interesting academic environment where somebody, and even for example, the potential employers and industries, they also come to see all these things. And so it's a very interesting initiative that we have taken up. But the point here is that if I am going for IPR for a particular product, and if I put that product in an exhibition, there is a catch. Now, some of you, if you have studied about these things, you understand that the IPR Act says that if something is already published and public is aware about it and it is in the public domain, I cannot give you the status of inventor or creator, right? So you must ensure that it is not in public domain unless and until you have completed the application process. If it is public after the date of application process, then there is no problem. But before that, it is a problem. So because when you submit, what do they do? When you submit your product there, they go through a rigorous prior art search process. And they have different softwares and libraries. So they run those, and over 3, 4, 5 days long search, they get a result that this product is perhaps available in a small city of Canada, and somebody has already put it as a patent, or somebody is using it for last 10 years, and this is something you are claiming as an inventor of it, right? So prior art search is something which is work that they are doing to understand whether your design is unique or not. You may feel it is unique, but perhaps it is already in existence, which is not in your knowledge. So the same clause says that it should not be in public domain. So if it is in public domain prior to your application, and therefore you may receive such objections that we found your product is in the internet or in the website of CEPT University, you will have to prove that it is the same product which I have designed was displayed in the exhibition, right? So they ensure that it is by you and not by somebody else. If it is by somebody else, then you have no right to claim the IPR for that product, right? So in our exhibition, what we do, we have, this kind of large exhibition where every work, each and every student's output is displayed. We put a sign like this along with the product. And we also request people not to really take photograph of that. We also request the journalist not to really make a news out of it, because we are in a process of application, and tomorrow or day after we are going to submit the application. If you want to make a news out of it, make it after 3 days. I will tell you when to do it, right? So this is a balance also is important if you really want to ensure that you don't go for objections and responses cycle again and again after the application. Now, once you submit, what happens, the good thing is that nowadays the things are becoming online. Earlier, it used to be sent kind of by post. Now they have a portal where you submit, etc. And then later you can check the status, right? So this is a portal of the ipindia.gov.in where you can put your application number which you have received after submission of the application, and you can check the status. So here, if you put that, if it is pending, you can say that case is in amended case of controller, right? So application status you can see here in the bottom. But if it is, so I'm showing you from real cases here. If it is published, you get something like this. So you have application number, and then date, and then eventually design accepted and published, journal number this, and journal date this, right? So this is now a proof that my product is registered with Patent Office of India. And then you can claim that this is a unique design, and then you are a proud owner of that product. Now, this is the kind of certificate you receive after you once it is registered and published in the journal. Just to quickly show you some designs here. For example, so all the products or designs I'm showing here are actually registered. So this is a table lamp made out of, reinforced concrete, right? And we have such many different other designs which are in process of registration. These are all, some of you, if you are following our Instagram page, must have seen. So we also try to put them in our Instagram page once it is registered, because other students are also charged up. They know, okay, yeah, I will also do something. I'll design something like this. And these are all kind of, so this is left side is a chair, right side is a collapsible bridge. And this collapsible bridge is a fantastic case here, which is by our technology students. Is like, if, for example, if the army regiment is going somewhere for emergency, and they can carry this bridge with them, and after going there, they can open it up and put it across a small river or whatever, and they can cross that. So it's a collapsible bridge, and in fact, it is just a design registration now. And I have recommended that they should go for patenting this, because this is a fantastic idea. So similarly, if you see left side, you have a fiberglass reinforced concrete lorry, which is a food cart, right? We are in discussion with local body corporation to kind of scale it up in large scale, large number for their vendors. Deployable structures, concepts and explorations. So this is a deployable structure that you are seeing here. And blooming roof, they call it blooming roof. The students also give different, very interesting names. Left side is a chair. And when I said that you are submitting application with required details, these are the kind of images you need to submit with the application, right? So they are very, very particular about what kind of image, at what angle, with what background. So it's like those passport office, the visa office, the way they give you specification that this should be your photograph with 3.5 by 3.5 centimeter with a white background. Both your ears should be visible, something like that. So you have a front view, back view, top view, bottom view, side view, and all with a clear white background. And good thing is that they also allow rendered images. You need not really put the photograph of the prototype. You can put rendered images as well. These are again some tables. Right side is a modular toilet. Very impressive design, which it can be kind of established in a rural area. Again, very useful product for army and defense. Chair, Nandi was talking about this display unit for paints. Kinetic facade is something, again, we are working on, and this is also registered under design. Now, at the end of this entire process, when you receive the IP registration certificate, as I said, if CEPT University is the owner, certificate will remain with us, right? Because tomorrow, if I have to go for commercialization, I will have to go through that process as an university. Now, what will be there with the student to claim that this is my product? So we share the photocopy of the IP registration certificate. Also, we give this kind of a certificate from university, which kind of have the photographs, registration number that we have received from my patent office. And it's a declaration that this is a product with such and such registration number, is created by such and such students. It's a certificate from university. So with that IP registration photocopy, with this letter, he or she can always claim that this is mine. So that's also very clear and transparent process where there is no ambiguity that I'm hiding the power with me and you are not given anything, etc., etc. So anyway, so with this, I'll end this kind of talk here. I think let's have questions to discuss it, because I have already consumed a lot of time, I believe. Yeah. I'll stop sharing here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. So it is for the participants who have any doubts or questions. Sir and ma'am both are here to clear all your doubts. So you can press the hand raise icon and you can ask the question from sir and ma'am. Yeah, Agrawal, please switch on your video. and introduce yourself.
Due to network glitches, if I on my video, the internet will get disabled. So sorry for that. I'm
Okay.
Shreya Agrawal. I'm Shreya Agrawal, and right now I'm working on sustainable architecture scholar. Plus, I have done BRK and MR. So, sir, my question is from sir. Whatever the product you have shown to us, it's a kind of product designing. So,
Right.
I just want to know, students have rendered this, I think. So, do they
Mhm.
also make the model? And if they make the model, at which scale they produce it? Because if we talk about 1:1 scale, it will cost a lot. I mean, I know one of my friends who has passed from SEPT only. So, these kind of things we were talking about before when I was assistant professor somewhere. So that's why I just want to know, like, what is the scale you go for it, and that's it.
Yeah. First point is that, see, for the design registration purpose, so that's something they are not really asking that you send me the photograph of the prototype, right? Not even the photograph of the product in whichever scale, even a rendered image with all those views, they are okay and they're fine with that, and you can receive the design registration for that. Now, as far as the model is concerned, for all such drawings as a final output of our studio or DRP or summer inter school, students are, we don't ask them to just draw the rendered image and stop there. We want the model to be there in a suitable scale, which is kind of, acceptable to us. Not always 1:1, because as you rightly said, there are products which, if I go for 1:1, perhaps I will have to invest 1.5 lakhs to 3 lakhs rupees. Then who will really pay for that? And I cannot ask the student to pay 2 lakhs rupees for just for a model, right? Although we have a workshop with Fab Lab and other facilities, but eventually the raw materials perhaps the students will have to procure, and which may add to cost. So, but yeah, some cost of those kind of model preparation is of course taken care by the students. The facilities and the laboratories are given by us, but there are also instances where if there is a product which needs to be in 1:1 model, and we wish to go for patenting and this next level of kind of finished product which is marketable to that level, we are having some kind of arrangements with government of Gujarat. We have some scheme called SSIP, where they are also promoting this kind of ideas where the cost of this prototype and POC can be taken care 50-50. So 50 by the university, 50 by the government of Gujarat. So we are trying to ensure that as far as the financial burden is concerned for a student can be reduced as much as possible, right? As far as the scale is concerned, Nandi will be able to tell us in which scale they produced that paint stand.
That was 1:5 scale, because 1:1 scale was very, very expensive. It was around 45, 50,000. So it was way too expensive. So we produce that at 1:5 scales. Sometimes we may only produce the part model, which is if there is any particular detail that we are trying to visualize or see, or some new joinery that we are trying. So it really depends on the cost and how much a student, or it has to be a viable cost. So the 1:5 model for was produced for the paint display. It's not a 1:1.
I can also tell you, I have cases in hand where the faculty is so excited with the fact that this is a very potentially new product. the faculty has said that, okay, 50% of the cost of the model will be borne by me. So the faculty and student jointly is working on that, and they are after me that, sir, we want to file this for patent. So I said, that's fine, but who is really bearing the cost? Then the student said that sir is sharing 50% of the cost. Because eventually when it will be registered, it's a joint ownership of the student and the faculty. We always say that this is the product of the student, faculty is not part of it. As long as they are coming together, we have no problem, right? There may be cases where the student says, no, it is completely my idea. Sir has no right to really claim partnership as a inventor. Possibly, yes, in that case, we'll have to take care of that. But yeah, I think most of the time when it is studio and all as a product, as a inventor, so far all our design registrations, it is faculty and student jointly, and I'll tell you interesting cases where some faculty members and students, while signing the MOU, they said, if it is commercialized, we would like to give back our 50% to the university. So in the MOU, they have written upfront that whatever amount is commercialized, even our shares would go back to the university as scholarship to the students. And this is another, interesting gesture that, so all possibilities are there. It's not a standalone document which everybody is just signing and going ahead. There are customization as and when required, as long as it is within the kind of doable extremities, right? Yeah, I hope we have been able to answer your short question with a long answer.
Okay, thank you so much, sir and ma'am.
Malishka Gupta,
Yes, ma'am.
please
Yes, ma'am.
put on your video.
A very good evening to all presenters and sir and ma'am. That was very insightful because as a student or a master student, I'm an first year student of MURP from FOAP. So if someone is planning to start a business with their own products, so I was just curious about to know if you are filing a patent for a single product. That was the process for the single product. If I have series of the products and I want to get patent of that products for my own business, then what will be the process or what will be the cost?
Okay, so first of all, if you have a particular product which is output or outcome of a particular exercise which was part of your curriculum within the university, then only I can support it, first of all, right? Suppose you have designed something as a part of your studio or something in the campus, I can support that. But if you have two more products on your own designed at your home, perhaps university will not be really interested because that was not part of any of the academic exercise and outcome of that, right? Yes. So as long as it is part of our any activity within the campus, it is definitely welcome. And we don't say that I can take up only one product of yours. If a student comes with 5 products for last 5 semesters together, we'll take it up, because for us it is not the student, it is the product. Okay. Yes. 1 student 5 products, 5 student 1 product, all combination is absolutely fine as long as it is a product which deserves to be patented. That's part 1. Part 2 of your question is that if you want to do your own business, right? So the entrepreneurship out of that is completely welcome. Exactly. So in this case, what will happen, I'll tell you. If the university is in the ownership of the patent or the design registration, in the MOU and all such kind of documentation, it is always very clearly written then that the first right to reject, there is a clause called first right to reject, is with the creator. Okay. So you are the first person. If you say no, this right I would like to purchase or procure, and I want to go ahead with it for whatever business, whatever, I cannot say, no, I am not going to sell you because I have a better buyer. So you are the first person. And here comes the ethical part of it. I don't think any university will charge from the inventor in this case that you buy the right by paying me 5 lakhs rupees, then it's a quite mutual that, okay, fine, then you take it up. And if you are really interested for business scale up, do something good. The day you earn good amount of money, give us some money for the scholarship. Right. It's something which is perhaps, everything cannot be within the legal domain. There is a lot of ethics which plays very crucial role in this kind of relationship. So I think that's the answer to your question. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Architect Ashwini Rawat, please switch on your video and put forward your question.
एक्चुअली अभी कुछ सेकंड पहले सर ने ही मेरे क्वेश्चंस का जवाब दे दिया सर दे दिया था. एक्चुअली मैं यही कंसर्न करना चाह रहा था कि एक्सेप्ट फंडिंग के अलावा अगर हम नाम लिखना चाहें तो क्या वो सेम मुझे परमिशन यूनिवर्सिटी से या ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से लेना पड़ेगा. एंड दूसरा है कि जब हम 2 या 2 से ज़्यादा 4-5 लोग कोई पेटेंट फाइल करते हैं, कुछ करते हैं, तो उसमें जो क्रेडेंशियल वाइज उनका वेटेज होता है वो भी वेरी करता है.
So all these things can be taken care in the MOU stage to avoid all future conflicts, right? During the MOU, when you are filing the application and when I am getting into the MOU, perhaps you can decide within the inventors that the faculty member will get 10% and the students will get 90%, right? So that can also be prioritized at that stage itself. But university will not really would like to get into that, honestly. Within the inventors, you should have a clarity. If you want that to be written precisely in the MOU, can be written.
Because sir, actually I have a 4 patent in IPR in journals only. बट मैंने इतना प्रोसेस उसमें देखा कि मैं पागल हो गया. फिर अल्टीमेटली उनकी वेबसाइट्स पे भी उनके एजेंट्स के कॉन्टेक्ट्स वगैरह दिए हैं, फिर मैंने उनसे ही किया. तो जब बात हुई तो उन्होंने ये कहा कि आपको एटलीस्ट एफिलिएशन के लिए आपको डालना पड़ेगा, जो भी उनका क्राइटेरिया हो ऑनलाइन के लिए या कुछ भी.
So Ashwini, because in this case you are an alumni of CEPT, you can always the offer is open for others as well. You can always talk to us, not a problem. As long as it is within our knowledge, we'll be able to try to help you out. Yeah.
Okay, sir. And one more thing, and it is only by the guidance of Dr. Subrajit Banerjee. He is my PhD guide also. वो सब इन सर के वजह से ही हो सका अंडर द गाइडेंस ऑफ. एंड थैंक यू. लगभग मेरा क्वेश्चंस का जवाब मिल गया सर.
Great, thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
See, honestly, I just would like to add that, when Professor Banerjee said that you need to give a lecture like this, I was actually clueless that this is such a kind of raw and legal topic. I have heard many people talking about it, and sometimes it becomes so boring and, going above the head. I said, what to really talk? So I thought, let's try and put it in perspective from the academic institutions, this thing, because then perhaps you will be able to relate it, and that was my entire effort here, to put it in that perspective. That's
and
it.
Dr. Goswami, that was exactly my entire intention was to get you here because of this, because you have been a teacher, architecture, planning, design, and you are there with the institution, and you are there with the filing system. So Professor Anil Roy, he told me there is no better person than Dr. Goswami. I said, Professor, please talk to him. Then I'll talk to him. So I was bent down on this course that I have to get you. And, I have got Madam also with you. So that's 1+1 bonus. Now my Nifty is going very high. So, so my Nifty is going very high. So that's it. But ultimately, it's a thing that I wanted to actually put forward this fact, because it's a very, very pertinent point which is coming out these days, and rightly, as you said, that it was a time till 2015, 2016, when other than IITs, nobody would even think of going for a patenting and licensing and IPR registration. So and probably that was the culture there, that was the culture which was built, I mean, right before, in by the mid of the 90s, and slowly when others came to it came into the limelight, it was too late for the others to catch up with them. But never mind, better late than never. uh, Universities like CEPT have already started it, and we would also now think of it. But before thinking, we should know what it is. The young generation faculty should know what it is, and they should, and if they have this thing, then because I see faculties, and even me, when we were filling up these forms, APA, ACR forms, or this UGC, this, how many patents you have. I used to write. I never used to read that. I used to write a second bracket and then an NIL. so that is, and I'm sure most of my contemporaries were like that. But now things are changing. Now things are going in a different way, and even publishing of books have become very vast. You can go for ebooks. You can. So thank you so much, Dr. Goswami and Dr. Parekh, for your madam, for both of you, madam and sir, for both of your extensive presentation on the topics, and it was a wonderful correlation between the two, and I think it was very pertinent to the field of architecture and planning. So I think really the young faculty members or the intenders of this FDP have gained a lot of knowledge and knowledge base from what it can be, and it's not hunting in the dark. So with this, we come to the end of the final session of this 5-day final day of this faculty development program. We are very much in time, and with us, our speakers for the previous sessions have also joined. I can see Dr. Bijay Kumar Das from NIT Patna, Dr. Shailendra Mandal from NIT Patna. Yeah, back, Vijay. So, and I can see Professor Indrani Chakraborty, Professor Ritu Gulati, our HOD. Madam, can you please put on your camera, please? People would like to see you. Yeah, Madam has taken up as the head of the department of our institute, and very young and dynamic, I should say. And we are expecting a lot from her. Quote unquote, that's different. So now I would, from the core of my heart, I really thank all the eminent speakers who have actually taken out time and who have actually been very supportive for conducting this FDP online. Every session, I feel, has been extremely informative and extremely good for the participants. They have gained a lot, and the true reason of doing an FDP lies here. So it's again a very, I should say, grateful regards from me to all the speakers. I think Professor Harimohan Pillai from, sir, are you there? He has just joined. He was our first speaker. Yes, sir, good afternoon. Professor Harimohan Pillai has joined us. He had the first session with us. So I thank him also, and all the speakers for their wonderful presentations and the extreme knowledge that they have shared. And I request them that in near future, I will take the opportunity to disturb them once again, and maybe again and again, to bring them into different platform. And this, I would say that thank you all once again from the core of my heart. So now I would like to hand over the platform to our HOD madam, Dr. Ritu Gulati. Madam, please.
Thank you, Shubhrajit. I think, you feel like you have a very godly-like feeling when people praise you too much. I think it's totally uncalled for. Our college is a very democratic place, and I think everybody has a huge role to play. I think we've had a great 5 days, and with so much information being shared, I wish I was doing my PhD now. So I submitted at CEPT, I think, almost 10 years ago now. So then and now the research has exponentially changed. I mean, it's so systematic, so scientific, and much more interdisciplinary than what we started off with. And I think contemporary researchers and faculty have a huge role to play in bringing architecture, planning, and other allied fields mainstream. We've till now, for the last uh, 10 years ago, we were talking about architecture as an isolated phenomena, planning as an isolated phenomena. We are not really trying to work with other people, but interdisciplinary research is the way to go, and people who are doing it have a larger role to play in in the problems that as a society we face. So this is, I think, something which we have kind of been successful in doing in the last 5 days, and it's a great pleasure to see the number of participants. We've got up more than 100 participants, and most of them have been listening all through the 5-day sessions, 3 speakers each, and 15 sessions of intense data knowledge. And I think now they're ready to face an exam also. They have to give a test, right? So I think they are all ready with that. I'll just congratulate first the team who was organizing this FTP. So a great congratulations to Shubhrajit and his team, including Juveria, Mahima, Divya, and Arundhati. And students, I think one was Tamina and the other was Arnab. Right? Banerjee, please correct me.
Yes.
So these 2 students have been there, and I think it's a great learning exercise for them also in their future professional career. I'd like to thank the Abdul Kalam Technical University for offering the financial support, and the Honorable VC also for the support and help that he's always given us. Our Dean and Principal is a pillar of optimism, and she's never said no to most of the things we take to her as proposals. So that is another great help when we organize such programs. All the speakers who are of repute from various places, I mean, that it's very diverse. Banerjee has done a great job by kind of trying to bring people from various domains, various spheres, various age groups, experience, less experience, with more energy, and a lot of things to share with their PhDs, with their expertise, and how things work in the actual research field. So I think kudos to you and your team. I don't think the faculty or the researchers need a revision of the speakers, but if I look at the gamut of speakers we've got Dr. Harimohan Pillai, Joydeep Datta, Indrani, Meeta, Joydeep sir again, Shailendra Mandal, Bijoy Das, Arindam, Anuj, Neha, Shubhranshu, we just see him here. So all young people engaged in research, it's a great thing to see. My only, I think, earnest request to all the participants here would be that, the architects and planners are lesser so, but architects have a major mental block with data. They are taught in these 5 years to somehow kind of alienate data from their data and data related processes. And that is why probably they take more time adapting to research. So since we have a scientific bent of mind, the earlier we get used to handling this data, the better we are. And that is probably the most, I still see people, having books and jisme zyada text hoga, ya jisme tables honga, jisme processes hongi. They don't want to go through it. This is something that I think should also be included in our curriculums, in our future curriculums, because the National Education Policy is also asking us now to make more open-ended course systems. So we do have to have various plugins where we also work in allied fields and allied fields work with us. So this is one thing that all the people should be, because research is essentially scientific. It can be qualitative, it can be quantitative, it can have various methods to it, but it has to follow a process. It definitely has to be scientific. We can go no ways about it. We can't sit in back and discuss about somebody's philosophy without really having an applied effect of it. which a lot of old architectural schools have, and we've propagated it also because that was a norm then, but now we have to get away from that a bit. So that's my earnest request to all of you. And I also presume that a lot of you will do your PhDs. That is why you're enrolled in this program. And we will try to do at least one such program once a year, because research methods are also changing very drastically and they need to be reintroduced. And I think the onus comes upon the Faculty of Architecture to be able to at least educate the faculties and researchers of this region, at least this region. And online FDPs make it even better. So thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you all for coming over and participating in this FDP. And all the students also, the researchers, the faculty, the colleagues who have joined this program, a big shout out and thank you to all of them for being there. That's all.
Thank you, madam. And I take this opportunity, since she can't thank herself. So among that young list of all the speakers she mentioned, she has been also a speaker. So thank you, madam, for sharing your experiences as well from my side. You cannot give the vote of thanks to yourself. So let me do the honor to you. And I again thank everybody, all the speakers, all the respected speakers, that you for your kind consideration and taking out time and coming to this FDP at different time slots. As I have asked you for, you have all agreed. And thank you once again. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And
for the participants,
it is a reminder for all the participants that by 5:30 p.m. today itself, we will be sharing a link for the MCQ to your registered email IDs, and it is mandatory for all the participants to submit their responses by 6:30 p.m. today and to obtain the e-certificate for this FDP. And on behalf of the entire FOAP family, I thank all the speakers and experts and the participants who were there in this 5-day of faculty development program. Thank you so much. Your presence and wise words help magnifying our cause in the best possible way. And all thank you to our enlightening words that inspired so many people out there, and our program was a huge success. Thank you all, and especially to the participants for being with us for the last 5 days. And I'm sure you all have overcome with all your doubts and fear for the research methodology, and this FDP has benefited you in the best possible way. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for such informative and knowledgeable thoughts.
Thank you, participants, and everybody once again. And as already told, we will be sharing 2 links, one for the feedback and one for the MCQ question. So I expect that all of you will be submitting by 6:30, which is a mandatory requirement for the fulfillment of this FDP as per the ordinances of the university. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arindam, to join us. Everybody, Shailendra, Vijay, everybody.